All right, let's get something straight right out of the gate. You want to grow food, you have a patch of dirt, and that dirt is pathetic. It's either hard as concrete when dry or a sticky, soul-sucking slurry when wet. It's the color of sadness and has the nutritional value of a cardboard box. So what's your brilliant plan? You're going to go to the big box store, wheeling your little cart like a good consumer, and you're going to buy bags of synthetic fertilizer and maybe some overpriced bagged garden soil. You'll pour this magic powder on your dirt, watch things get kinda green for a minute, and then wonder why your plants are still weak, why the soil washes away, and why you're locked in this annual ritual of pouring money onto dead earth. It's like putting a fancy band-aid on a broken leg. You're treating a symptom while the patient is in a coma. What if I told you there was a method used by an empire that fed massive armies for centuries, that didn't just feed the plant, but fundamentally changed the dirt itself? And it didn't come from a factory. It came from a simple, humble, and frankly, kind of pretty plant that does all the work for you while you sleep. Today, we're recruiting for the Roman Legion. Not to fight, but to farm. We're bringing in the ultimate soil soldier, red clover. Let's talk about the Roman problem. A legion on the march, or more importantly, settled in a fort for the winter, needed a local food supply. They couldn't wait years for poor frontier soil to become good. They needed a soil intervention. Their genius wasn't in invention, but in observation and systematic application. They, like many ancient farmers, noticed that land where certain plants grew, clovers, beans, vetches, seemed to give better yields afterwards. They didn't know about nitrogen, but they knew about results. They used red clover as a stativum, a stationary crop to hold and improve land. It was the original green manure. While you're scrolling for quick hacks, they were implementing a permanent solution. Now, a quick moment of honesty. Some of you are already clicking away because this sounds slow. You want the instant gratification. You want the YouTube short, the life hack, the one weird trick. You are the reason your soil is dead. You're a short-term thinker in a long-term world. The Romans built roads that are still here. You can't even be bothered to plant a cover crop that takes 60 days. Is that a bit harsh? Good. Your soil doesn't care about your feelings. It responds to action. Intelligent, patient action. So, for the few of you left who actually want to build something that lasts, let's talk about why this works. The first magic trick is called nitrogen fixation. Here's the simple version. Air is mostly nitrogen, but plants can't use it from the air. It's like having a bank account full of money in a currency you can't spend. Red clover and other legumes have a secret deal with a bacteria called rhizobia. The clover lets these bacteria live in little root nodules, nice and cozy. In return, the bacteria grab that atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into a form the plant can use. It's a tiny underground fertilizer factory. When the clover plant dies, that stored nitrogen is released into the soil, becoming available for your next crop of corn, or tomatoes, or wheat. The Romans were getting free fertilizer from the air, courtesy of a plant and its microbial allies. You're paying for ammonium nitrate made in a chemical plant using fossil fuels. Who's the clever one? But it's not just about the nitrogen, that's just the headline. The real work is done by the Biopore Brigade. Look, your compacted soil is a disaster zone. There's no air, no space for water to drain, and roots can't penetrate. It's a suburban hellscape for soil life. Red clover sends down a deep, fibrous taproot. This root is a pioneer. It punches through hardpan, it creates channels. When that root eventually decays, it leaves behind a perfect deep tube of organic matter, a biopore. This is now a highway for water infiltration, for air exchange, and for the roots of your future plants. It's like the clover is sending down tiny organic drill bits to shatter the concrete and then leave behind nourishing sponges. Your bag of 10-10-10 fertilizer does exactly none of that. It's just a sugar rush. The clover is rebuilding the entire digestive system of your soil. So, how do you actually do this? It's insultingly simple, which is why the overthinkers among you will complicate it immediately. You broadcast the tiny clover seeds on your prepared bed in the spring or late summer. You barely rake them in. You keep them moist until they sprout. And then you basically ignore them. Let them grow. Let them flower. Those pretty pinkish red flower heads are a beacon for every pollinator in the county, which is another benefit you weren't expecting. Now, here's the key moment. The cut and drop. Right as the plant is flowering at its peak, but before it goes to seed and gets woody, you cut it down. You can use a scythe, a weed whacker, or even just garden shears. You don't pull it up. You cut the top off and let it fall right there on the soil as a mulch. The roots, now laden with nitrogen nodules, stay in the ground to decompose. The leafy top, now a mat on the surface, smothers weeds, retains moisture, and slowly breaks down to feed the soil surface. You have just performed a total nutrient and organic matter transfer. In a few weeks, you can dig that into the top layer or just plant right through the mulch. The soil will be darker, crumblier, and alive. The Roman colonist, the tenant farmer, knew this. He didn't have a choice. It was this or starvation. You have a choice. You can choose the quick, expensive, degrading loop of dependency on inputs from a system that can fail. Or you can choose the slow, free, and profoundly resilient loop of working with biology. You can choose to be a consumer of dirt or a builder of soil. One path leaves you weaker every year. The other makes your land stronger, more fertile, and more capable with every season that passes. So make your choice. Go buy another bag of blue crystals and wonder why it's not working. Or spend the price of a cheap lunch on a bag of red clover seed, and in 2 months witness the quiet, powerful, ancient magic of rebirth happening right under your feet. Become a soil legionary. Leave a legacy in the earth, not just a receipt in your wallet.